At this time, the Pine Richland Air Force Junior ROTC Rifle Squad is leading. Following the ROTC is Pine Richland Girl Scout Troop, led by Jennifer Siegel. Following them is Cub Scout Pack 85, led by Scout Leader Dave Boomer. Behind them is Cub Scout Pack 179, led by Den Mother Susan Gauthier. Next we have Scout Troop 150, led by Greg Gilmer, Senior Patrol Leader. Following along in our parade is we welcome the Richland Volunteer Fire Department, Richland EMS, and North Regional Police Department. We'd also like to thank our sponsor, Tom Henry Chevrolet, with cars, the new 2019 Blazer and a 2000 R5 Camaro, and they are driven by Joe and Lori Fung. We also have today an antique 1930 Chevy driven by Bob Proudfoot. Last but not least is the riders and horses from Bakerstown Stables. We will have Emma, who rides on Emmy, Taylor, who rides on Ruger, Isabella on Dakota. Then we'll have Kate, who rides on Oreo. Abby is riding on Gilly. We have Linda on Sarah. We have Shirley on Sam. We also have Stacy Hawley. Also included in our parade, I forgot to mention, was the the Richland Youth Foundation Preschool, who's going to be singing today's national anthem. You ready, Mom? You ready? We ready for the welcome? Okay. Is the parade over? Yep. I'm ready. Thank you for all those who participated, and we'll proceed with the ceremony. Introduce our commander, Bob Schleiden, United States Air Force.
Thanks, Connor. Thanks, Mr. Passione, United States Navy, Vietnam. Thank you. We're in a new spot up here today. In the past, we've always presented from the ground, so if we have people falling off the stage, that's because it's our first time up here. Good morning. I tried to get around and thank everybody for being out here. We really appreciate you taking part of your Memorial Day weekend to participate in this ceremony. On behalf of American Legion Post 548, Speaker Mike Terzai, past Department of Pennsylvania Commander in the red cap, Mr. Paul Kennedy, and our honored families to be recognized today. Thank you for your patriotism and for prioritizing your busy schedules to include attending today's Richland American Legion Post 548 Memorial Day service. On behalf of our post membership, and you'll see the names on an insert in your program, on behalf of our entire post membership, we would like to sincerely thank all of you for participating in today's service. I'd also like to especially thank all of our scouting family that was here today. Thursday night, the Scouts, in addition to, under the direction of Mr. Dave Wiggin, put flags on the gravestones of veterans in 3 local cemeteries, and I want to thank the Scouts especially for that, and Mr. Dave Wiggin. I'd like to thank the Pine Richland Youth Foundation preschool class under the direction of Jennifer Nicotra, and they are seated, they're smartly seated over there under the shade tree. I'd like to thank the Pine Richland Band Ensemble under the direction of Mr. Brian Scott. Brian, you guys every year, Old Faithful, you guys here every year. They sound great. We have a wonderful band at Pine Richland High School. We're so lucky to have an enthusiastic director. We'd like to thank once again the Pine Richland Air Force Junior ROTC Color Guard under the direction of Mr. Nicotra, a member of our post, Tim Nicotra, and they will be firing the rifles along the shady side of the bank later, so prepare yourself. We do sound taps with rifle salute. Would also like to thank the Major Morrison, and Chief Gasparetto from the Pine Richland Junior ROTC program. They have become a mainstay and a very important part of what we do in our community. Chief, Major, we appreciate you and your cadets. The Mars Rovers are here once again, a quartet. They're in their blue Air Force. They're all veterans of the United States Air Force, and I think you'll appreciate them as much as we do. We really enjoy having them. The Bagpiper, this is new this year. We were up doing a poppy sale up at Walmart, and she happened to mention the word Bagpiper, and our junior vice commander grabbed her and said, "We need you for Memorial Day." So we're delighted to add her to our program today. And she is the spouse of an Air Force veteran. Emily, thank you for being here. What's the name of that unit? Your unit? 444th? Personnel Service. And we also want to thank from the United States Army Reserves. You can see they brought their Humvee down, given a chance to take a Humvee for a ride. They're here from the 444th. Thank you. Thank you, guys. You know, they work a full week. They enjoy a day off too, but they came out to support us. We really appreciate them. Our Richland Township first responders will be here. We'll be honoring them. We want to thank the Richland Auxiliary, the canopies over there. Please, we have ordered plenty of hot dogs and drinks. If you get thirsty during the ceremony or somebody needs water, help yourself to the water. Following the ceremony, please take advantage. Have a hot dog, have a drink, and whatever the Susan Van Riper and the auxiliary have for us today. We really appreciate those ladies. And my son-in-law helps. We'd also like to thank the Richland Post 548 officers and those that are in uniform today that take more than just a casual participation in the American Legion Post 548. These are our American Legion leaders in the community. We perform honor guard ceremonies. We perform color guard ceremonies for Community Day and wherever needed. Unfortunately, we had way too many ceremonies last year for the honor guard, and unfortunately, we had a last-minute call to do a ceremony for a suicide from one of our Navy veterans with suffering from PSD. It is in our community, and I know the American Legion is doing everything in partnership to stop the 20 deaths a day that are occurring to our veterans. I want to thank our business partners. The business partners are listed in the back of the program. We have many people that have volunteered to help and donate, and we appreciate it. And as I said, we especially appreciate the people that brought their horses and everybody in the parade. Marvelous. It's getting bigger. It's getting to be like a horse show, car show. We appreciate having all of them. I just want to make a very brief statement about the Memorial Day. From the American Legislation to our current operations on terrorism, 1 million American men and women have made the supreme sacrifice while serving in wars and conflicts. We honor all of them today, not just those in the highest that earned the highest medals or the heroes who fought in the most famous battles. On this occasion, Post 548 honors all of our fallen. They died so we can continue to cherish the things that we hold precious: freedom, country, family. And that is why we are gathered here today on Memorial Day, to honor the memory of all our fallen warriors who have given everything for their country. Next, may I introduce Mr. Dave Wiggin, United States Army veteran, And he is our Post 548 Scout Liaison. Dave.
Good morning. Our flag ceremony will be conducted by members of Boy Scout Troop 150. So, detail, attention, forward, march.
Arms. Keep coming. Keep coming. Right there. Water. Arms.
Detail. Return to your post.
I'd also like to welcome everybody here. It's heartwarming to see this turnout. It's very nice.
Uncover.
Almighty Father, we are gathered here to pay tribute to those who have laid down their lives for our freedom. Help us to honor and remember their sacrifices and the sacrifices of their families. I pray that each person here today will grasp the magnitude of the sacrifices that they made for our freedom. For those who suffered the loss of a family member or a comrade, I bring comfort to their distress and healing that only you can provide, Lord. Father, please protect those that are presently serving in our armed forces wherever they are. I pray that a day will come when our future generations will not have to face the ravages of war. I am very thankful for the mission of the American Legion, for God and country. I pray in the name of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Jesus Christ. Amen.
Recover. Thank you, Harry. Harry is a combat veteran from Vietnam with a Purple Heart, and he is our chaplain. And I want to thank him for the beautiful weather today.
We did pray.
Please remain standing. I want to introduce the only Marine up here on the stage. Dan Stefanoff was a helicopter pilot, and he is responsible today for the POW ceremony. He takes great pride in that ceremony, and so, Dan, thank you very much.
Thank you. We're all familiar with symbols, those visual images that on one hand might convey a singular, simple message like a railroad crossing that remind us to look both ways before crossing the railroad track. Or on the other hand, the symbolic image can convey such complex, abstract virtues, values, and principles so succinctly that even words often fail and prove inadequate. One such complex symbol is the POW MIA flag. This flag speaks to us of one's duty to one's God, one's country, and one's family, and that this duty has been acknowledged and accepted. All our brothers and sisters who have acknowledged and accepted this call, some of those are yet today prisoners of war, missing in action, or killed in action. This POW MIA flag speaks of valor, dignity, and sacrifice of self. This POW MIA flag reminds us that far too many of our military brothers and sisters continue to endure the agony of torture, deprivation, and imprisonment, compounded by the despair of separation from family and loved ones. This POW MIA flag calls out to us and implores us all to remember that as we enjoy the fruits of our inalienable God-given liberty, as we build our lives with the expectation of a safe and continuous freedom, we still have brothers and sisters who have either gone missing, are prisoners of war, or may have died in action, lying at rest in a place where no one knows, all the while their families anguish. It is not enough that we gather here today in places such as Richland Park and parks all across America to remember our brothers and sisters who cannot now nor may never gather with us again. This POW MIA flag implores us to thank God that such men and women ever lived. God bless them all, and God bless the United States of America.
And I'd like to introduce the Mars Rovers again. They're over there in blue by the microphone, and they will be singing America Beautiful. Paul Ayala, Chris Hasenflew, Bud Warner, and Richard Weaver. Thank you again, gentlemen.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patrons' dream that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster city gleamed, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America, America, America.
Thank you for that beautiful rendition. I'd like to introduce our speakers, Mike Turzai, Speaker of the House of Representatives for Pennsylvania, and to Mr. Paul Kennedy, past commander of the, please be seated. Everybody, sit down. Sit. Past commander of the Department of Pennsylvania, Paul Kennedy, here in the red hat. Every year, Richland American Legion Post 548 awards a student scholarship. This year, the scholarship is being funded by the Schleiden Family Foundation in honor of their dad, Ray Schleiden, who served in the Army Air Corps during World War II and was a longtime member of Richland American Legion Post 548. This scholarship is intended to give back to the veterans of our community. To be eligible for this $3,000 scholarship, the applicant must be a son or a daughter, great-grandson, granddaughter, or great-great-grandson, granddaughter of an American Legion member or a current member of the American Legion Post 548 or Mars American Legion Post 797. The scoring criteria for this scholarship includes scholarship, extracurricular activities, faith-based activities, work ethic, volunteerism, leadership, participation in American Legion youth activities, problem solving. So our candidate, our awardee this year, fulfills all of those as a Sea Scout, as a Eagle Scout, as a leader in the Pine Richland Mars post of the Junior ROTC. On behalf of the Post Scholarship Committee, it is a great privilege to announce the winner of this year's $3,000 Richland American Legion Post 548. The student scholarship winner is Ian Michael Slay, senior at Mars High School, attended Keystone Boys State, Squadron B Cadet Commander of Pine Richland Air Force ROTC. Ian is the son of Michael and Anita Van Slay. Michael is a member of our post and a Navy veteran. And at this time, I'd like to have Ian Michael Slay come up to the podium. Wow. Can we move this?
Where you want to go?
That gets all wet.
Okay, good. Commander, Mr. Terzai? Just come on up front, sir.
Boy, that's impressive, young man. Congratulations.
Could you get on the other side of them? Sure. Nice photo shot. Sure. Mike, come on up. Get your wife here, please. Congratulations. She refuses. Get on the other side of your son. We're going to balance this out. Commander, you want to present that? You want to present his check, sir? Right with you. Thank you.
Take that. That's
Our next award is for the 32nd District Adjutant of the Year. The 32nd District it comprises Allegheny County for the American Legion, and the adjutant is the person that serves as the heart and soul of the unit that takes care of the personnel, keeping people engaged, keeping the membership up, collecting the dues, getting the information in and out. This is the third consecutive year that Post 548 has earned 101% attendance, which is extraordinary. This is the second consecutive year to be awarded a Duty Honor Country Incentive Pin. Our awardee this year organizes, one of the chief organizers of this parade and picnic and Memorial Day celebration. And has also been on the Honor Guard, the Color Guard, the Membership Committee Chairperson, the Parliamentary Chairperson, the Memorial Day Committee, the Post Renovation Committee, and the Post Historical Committee. This year's 32nd District Adjutant of the Year is Mr. Bob Perdue.
I think it's this one. Can we provide the stage, sir?
Sure.
Oh, you've done that a couple times.
Yeah, this one I've done.
There's not one for the...
congratulations and thank you for your service.
Stand fast.
We also have a Hall of Fame award for American Legion Post 548. It's awarded to Mr. Bob Perdue. He served 28 consecutive years as a member of the post. He was the post commander for 3 years, the post adjutant for 5 years, the post financial audit chairperson for 10 years, Honor Guard, Color Guard member for 25 years, the executive committee chairperson, the parliamentary chairperson, the Memorial Day Committee, the Post Historical Committee, and the Post Renovation Committee. Hall of Fame award, 28 years, Mr. Bob Perdue. I have one more. The Pennsylvania Department of the American Legion awarded one Chaplain of the Year award. He's here today, but I want to give you a little bit of his background. He came from a home as a teenager where he was abused by his alcoholic stepfather. He joined the military and went to Vietnam. In 1968, during the Tet Offensive, he was driving an armored personnel carrier, and right before the grenade hit, he reached up with his right hand to put it in reverse. The grenade hit, he lost his arm, was injured in the leg, but he saved his right arm, and we're glad for that. When he came back from Vietnam with the wounded, he threw away his Army uniforms because being in the military at that time was not like it is today, where everybody was all happy about it, and there wasn't a lot of respect for military personnel. So he threw away his uniforms, but he didn't let these bad things ruin his life. He found God. He became active. He went back to using the GI Bill, went back to school, got a degree, became a professor of mathematics at Allegheny County Community College. And there he started some veteran support groups, helping other people that had been through stuff. And he's continued that service today, and he was the person that read the invocation to you. So you've all experienced some of his service too. He participates in funerals. He comforts the families at the graveside. He reads the prayers. He brings brownies to every meeting. He comes to every meeting of the American Legion.
That's my wife.
And we thank his wife for the brownies because we know he didn't make them. He's also part of our honor guard. And I want to introduce and bring up Harry Van Riper for the Pennsylvania Department of the American Legion Chaplain of the Year Award. This next award isn't about an individual, but it's about an organization that has served the community here. It's an award that was given by the National American Legion. It was given to one post, and I have to find it here. Let me have it. Here we go. I'll just read it off the plaque. There it is. Richland Post 548, Department of Pennsylvania, has demonstrated excellence in serving their community above and beyond all expectations. In keeping with the aims of our preamble, this post and its members have displayed exemplary efforts through their devotion to mutual helpfulness. This post's exemplary efforts deserve recognition for their support of the programs and activities of the American Legion, all the while being an asset in their community. Their allegiance to helping veterans is exemplary, and they should be commended for their efforts toward post excellence. The American Legion presents this certificate in appreciation to this post's unselfish devotion to duty, compassion toward their fellow men and women, and witness thereof. This testimony of personal gratitude is given by the undersigned and presented on the 24th day of May. Denise H. Rohan, National Commander, Daniel S. Wheeler, National Adjutant. Would Commander Schleiden please come to the front to accept this award from our distinguished representatives?
Post officers, front and center. Everybody else in the background. Post officers.
Yes.
It's truly an honor for me to present this award to Post 548. At the time of this award, I was a department commander. Now, as a national staff officer, it gives me great pleasure to award this certificate to Richland Post 548.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Stand, you can get a picture. Thank you. Tighten it up, guys, tighten it up. It's okay. Thank you. Very well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Turzai, I'm going to say a few words.
Just one presentation. Paul, if you could stay with me, and Bob, if you could just stay with me. That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dwight. I'm so honored to be here today for this Memorial Day service in this beautiful Richland Township with each and every one of you, honoring those that have served our country. The House of Representatives passed a resolution commemorating the 100th anniversary of the American Legion. The American Legion has been a staunch advocate for veterans and their families since 1919. The American Legion was founded on 4 pillars of care for veterans: a strong national defense, celebration of America, and protecting children and youth. It has played a leading role in initiatives and breakthroughs that have affected the lives of Americans in every community, creating the United States Flag Code, helping to start the Veterans Administration, drafting and getting passed into law the GI Bill, and helping veterans receive benefits for health care conditions based on their honorable service, including the acceptance of Agent Orange exposure as service-connected. Today, the American Legion has nearly 3,000 accredited service officers worldwide, and the current national membership is over 2 million, with over 200,000 Legionnaires from Pennsylvania. Please celebrate with me the 100th anniversary of the American Legion, and I'm so honored to present this resolution from the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Turzai. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Come on, guys, stand up. All front center.
Mr. Turzai, we're going to
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, I direct your attention to the area where the, right there, Mrs. Nicotra has the Richland Youth Foundation singers, and they're going to sing God Bless America for you.
So loud. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
You guys are going down, right?
Let's go, Harry. Just kidding, Ryan. You're good there. Okay, Bob, you're good, you stay here. Dan, Dawn, you stay here. You guys.
Good morning,
Just
everyone.
stand here, sir.
As is our tradition, in addition to honoring our deceased military members by asking their family to place a flower on our memorial wreath, we want to also honor those first responders who serve Richland Township by asking them to place a flower onto their wreath. Representing the Northern Tier Regional Police Department are Officers Vince Tedesco and Officer Regis Welsh. Representing the Richland Volunteer Fire Department is Lieutenant Brian Fung. And since the representative for Richland Emergency Management Services were not able to be here today, we have our own member, Jeremy Howe, who will place a flower representing the Richland Emergency Management Services.
We'd now like to present Amazing Grace, played by bagpiper Emily Trimpe, United States Air Force veteran spouse. Thank you, Emily. That was wonderful. At this time, we would like to take a moment to recognize Post 548 members who have passed in the last year. In their honor, a carnation will be placed in the wreath before you by family and friends. Richard Baumgarten. Richard served in the United States Army Air Corps, which is now the Air Force. He was a crew chief on a B-24 bomber, the Misbehavin', in the Pacific Theater, and later a section chief in charge of equipment removal and infrastructure removal. He was an American Legion member for 14 years. Carnations are being placed by his daughter-in-law, Melanie, and family. Robert A. Emig served in the United States Army during the Vietnam War. Robert was in charge of supply and logistics in country. He was an American Legion member for 15 years. Carnations are placed in his honor by his wife, Sue Ellen, sons, Bob and Chad, and daughters-in-law, Brenda and Charlotte, and granddaughters, Kaylee, Evelyn, and Faith. Andrew M. Phillips served in the United States Air Force during the Korean War, later in the Air National Guard. Andrew retired in 1990 after 40 years of service. He was an American Legion member for 9 years. A carnation will be placed in his honor by Post Commander Robert Schleiden. James Rickabaugh served in the United States Army during the Vietnam War. Also served in the Army National Guard for 23 years, spending most of his career flying helicopters. He was an American Legion post member for 18 years, was a past post commander, past finance officer, and honor guard member. Carnations will be placed in his honor by his wife Pat, daughter Suzanne, son Keith, and daughter-in-law Erin. Edwin Spangler. Edwin served in the United States Army during the Korean War. He was a member of the American Legion for 6 years. Carnation will be placed in his honor by Post Commander Robert Schleiden. We now take a moment to recognize all the U.S. servicemen and women in all branches of the armed forces who have passed. While they are unknown to us, they are not unknown to the families that lost them, and they are not unknown to God. A carnation in their honor will be placed by American Legion Post Commander Robert Schleiden. Next, we'd like to ring the ship's bell. Let me tell you a little about that. The toll of 8. It's a tradition. The sounding of a ship's bell is a powerful Navy tradition and a reminder of a long-held maritime custom rooted in America's naval history. With the end of the sailor's watch, 8 bells were sounded, and the sailor was relieved from his watch. The maximum number of bells that can be struck is 8, hence the saying, 8 bells and all is well. A ship's bell is sounded for other purposes. Ultimately, the passing of a sailor is marked with the ringing of 8 bells. It is a naval tradition to sound a ship's bell at a sailor's memorial service. Will everyone please stand? The bell will now toll 8 times, signifying life given for one's country, fulfillment of duty, and life is complete. Pine Richland Rifle Squad, under the supervision of Tim Nakota, Major Morrison, Chief Gasparetto, will now render the salute, and the Pine Richland Band Bugler will play taps.
we will have the Mars Rovers once again sing the Armed Forces Medley. As they sing your service song, we
Just a few
invite those
announcements
veterans here today
before I
as a way to
introduce Reverend
recognize
Gary
you
Weston,
and thank you for
United
your
States
service.
Air Force veteran.
We invite you
who did
as
the
your service
benediction.
song is played.
I just want to remind you
to
that
come
we have
front
a
and center
custom here
and join
on
us
Mets-
on the
at
podium
the American Legion
and in the
Post
area
548.
front. Please remain
Following
standing
the
benediction so that we can take a group picture. Before we also want to remind you that following the group picture, the American Legion Auxiliary has 2 canopies set up at the end of the sidewalk. Again, we encourage you to stop and have a hot dog and something to drink. We want to thank you, all of you, for your participation in our ceremony and for your taking of your time today to participate in Memorial Day. Reverend Weston.
We are so blessed to live in this great country, to enjoy the freedoms we have as Americans. Those brave men and women who have made this possible gave up so much for us. They gave up lives shared with wives and husbands. They gave up seeing their children grow up. They gave up laughing and crying and loving and living. They gave up everything. To fail to honor the sacrifice of those who have made this possible would be a disgrace. And so thank you for being a part of this Memorial Day observance. And as you go out from this place today, go with hearts filled with gratitude for those who have made that supreme sacrifice. Go with hearts filled with compassion for those loved ones they left behind. Go with hearts filled with renewed passion for preserving our freedoms. Go with hearts filled with pride for those who continue to serve in our armed forces. And go with hearts filled with peace, knowing that God is with you. Amen.
From the rising of the sun till the battle's fought and won, we will fight for the right and defend our country. We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in thee through surf and storm and howling gale. I shall our purpose
United States Army, front and center.
Apparatus is our guide, our pledge of honor too. We're always ready, do or die. High Coast Guard, we fight for you. From the halls of Monterey,
United States Marine.
to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battle in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine. Da, da, da. Anchors aweigh.
United States Navy.
Boys, anchors aweigh. Farewell to calling shores, we sail at break of day. To our last night on shore, drink to the foam. Until we meet once more, we're wishing you a happy voyage home.
First to fight for the right and to keep the nation right.
And the army goes rolling along, rolls along.
Protocol we have done fighting
And the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count out the cadence loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. Off we go into the
United States Air Force.
climbing high into the sun. Here they come to meet our thunder. Adam boys, give it the gun, give it the gun. Down we die, spouting our flame from under. Off with one hell of a roar. of the U.S. Air Force. And those are the great armed forces of America. They serve America. At home and overseas, they serve America.
You know, it's truly an honor for me to be here today. This is one of my highlights of my career. I spent 40 years in the Army, and to come to these represent the American Legion to truly show what community service is all about. And Post 548 demonstrates to the height of community activity. Mr. Slyden, the commander of the post, is very, very active. Keystone Baseball, which is one of our premier programs, which was established in 1925. As you heard, the American Legion was established in 1919, and some of our principles were founded on the 4 pillars. And Post 548 truly shows those four pillars. So again, I was truly honored to be here today to give the award to the National 548 Award, the Chaplain Award of the Year, and the Adjutant of the Year Award, all to Post 548. And again, I want to thank everybody for being here, and what a turnout. This truly shows what 548 and the American Legion means to this community. Thank you.
My name is Jeremy Howe. I'm from American Legion, Post 548. I have the honor and privilege of working with a few of our youth programs that the American Legion hosts, one of them being Keystone Boy State. It's a great program. It's a government program where the students that are juniors going to be seniors in high school, they all go to Shippensburg University and they participate in a mock government and attend the Capitol, and they meet their local representatives and senators. It's great for college applications. I also run a youth program called Police State Youth Week. This is a camp where the youth get to go to Hershey, Pennsylvania. When they are there, they participate in a mock police academy. They shoot weapon systems. They participate in physical training, as well as other police functions such as learning the Pennsylvania Crimes Code and Pennsylvania Vehicle Code. Again, it's great for college applications.